Hello everyone, this is AmberAnkNA here. Welcome to my channel. Well, I play a variety of games and do narrations for fanfics. I'm really hoping you enjoy my content. If you do, make sure to comment below, leave a like, and subscribe with the notifications on. Right, until next time, this is AmberAnkNA. Welcome to my channel. So, hi! Anyways, after the song I made and sent to you one, that you would hear basically before you read the first two audio files I sent you. Yeah, basically. Oh well. But anyways, the third one. Let's get started, Ryan. Ding ding ding. The key. About 1 month ago, Ryan's Caulfield's daughter, Max, was forced to leave her best friend, Chloe, behind when he moved his family hundreds of miles away because of his job. Max hasn't been handling the move well, so Ryan decides to take time away from work for a special father-daughter day. I hope will make her happy. He stood in front of the full-length mirror in his bedroom, buttoning his dress shirt. He was preparing for the routine morning drive to work as he typically did in the middle of the week. One at a time, starting near the collar at the top and working his way down the fabric. Ryan used his pointers and thumb from his both hands to push and pull his button through the designated slots on the opposite side. As the closing tightened around his chest and belly, he began to visualize the reason behind such slugness. This damn shirt must shrunk. That's what happens when you miss hot water and cotton. Gotta tell Vanessa to be more careful next road. Back of his mind, he knew AIDS, a poor diet, and lack of exercise were the true culprits behind the now tight-fitting article clothing. He sat beside a dress that's most every day with minimal amounts of physical exercise. Blaming someone other than himself in his own decisions made it much easier to come to terms with what he was experiencing. He also knew this wasn't the first time. The way he forced himself to westernize his own behavior. Men's young teenage daughter could easily be heard from her new room where she laid alone, sniffling every night since the move. It had been 3 weeks since Ryan uprooted his family and swept them away from a place both his wife and daughter truly enjoyed living, because his job disabilities required him to move closer to Seattle. Vanessa, being supportive and extremely understanding, we just went with the flow and rarely pressed back too hard on her husband's decision. Max clearly had been taking the move very well, and he wasn't sure what he was supposed to do to make her feel better. The most difficult part of the move for his daughter was having to leave her best friend behind. Ryan saw how much they meant to one another, but figured Max could meet somebody else to play with. But until he witnessed the soulful, hot-kinded, outgoing girl he raised completely saying no, he understood the strength of the girl's bond. She's always been the bit innovative and always thoughtful. but he had no idea she would lock herself inside her own head, toss away the key. It was like an uncontrollable storm was raging inside her and was unable to find shelter. It was beginning to feel terrible that he encouraged the girl not to stay in contact with her friend. It seems like the right decision at the time. Convinced his daughter it was better for both her and Chloe if they move on from one another. Luckily, the betting mask from racing out. It made her believe her best friend would hurt more if she hang on. It was easy since she cared too much about Chloe to be cause of even more pain. She get over it. She get over it, the bellman told his wife. And truly believe it at first. The days turned to weeks, and his adventurous daughter seemed to be withering away right before his eyes. He sometimes wished he could rewind his decision and do things differently. Everything might have been different had Mouse, his best friend, not just lost her father in a tragic car accident. So a teenager essentially lived at the Price house all the times, especially this summer. Ryan knew how much William meant to her. Yes, Ryan was the girl's father, but Chloe's dad was a father figure to Max for most of her life as well. Personally, he hadn't grown very close to William or Joyce, but he spent too much time focused on his work. But he trusted the couple even with his daughter's life. They were good people who loved each other, their own daughter and his little Max. Generally, both families had one child, and the girls generally seemed to fit each other quite well. Instead of staying in town an extra day or two after the funeral, but everything lined up so perfectly. He job relocated, giving him only a handful of weeks to find a place to live and get settled in. Vanessa found the perfect spot, merely a half-hour's drive to his new work. As I was in a good school district, so they purchased the property rather quickly. That same week, they listed their KBA resident as a desirable offer within the first 48 hours. Every sign they'd been given from the universe said moving was the right thing to do. But he didn't consider was how it would impact his family. He was beginning to wonder if he made the right decision. We left for the damn job. Had to follow the money, didn't we? Matt stayed in her room all day watching television, playing games, and listening to music. It seemed too unlike most teenagers. Ryan's application, but it was uncommon for the girl he knew prior to the move to not be very active. She and her best friend would be gone together for what seemed like days, rolling and playing outside all around the former town. They slept like pirates and pilled to simply enjoy being out and about with one another. I'm okay, Ryan. There. The man typically relied on Vanessa to handle the emotional stuff that came with being a teenage girl. In his mind, he just didn't know how to handle the young girl's feelings. Recognized that she was a kid who needed to have friends and be socially active, but he underestimated how important the friend who was now hundreds of miles away meant to his daughter's happiness. Her heart was broken because of the death in her family, but to Max, he knew it must have felt like her best friend died too. All of a sudden, Ryan realized what he needed to do, and he kicked himself for not thinking of it sooner. Damn, I'm an idiot. Work was demanding, and there would, no doubt, be consequences for his actions later. But this was suddenly the most important thing in the world to the man. He changed all of his nice business, put in a down dress to a more casual, long-sleeve funnel, and headed upstairs. Hey! Ryan whispered through the barely cracked door to his daughter's room. You up, Max? The bed creaked and the mattress springs shifted as the man placed an open palm on the outside of the door, pushing ever so gently as it Silently ends open. Mouse rolled over and lifted her eyelids, walking up and towards the door in her father's listen. Yeah, I'm up. Her strassy voice gobbled due to an activity throughout the night. What are you doing? Shouldn't you be on the road? She ran her foot over the new braces she received a week prior. They stretched her arm towards the ceiling. The girl pushed herself to a sitting position with her back against the cardboard headboard, raising torso still under the covers. She reached over to the nightstand and grabbed a cup of room temperature water she placed there the evening before, taking a small shopping trip. Today is a special day. Get up and get ready. We're gonna spend some time together. It's you and me. He tried to force a smile to encourage his teenagers and not be suspicious and just sort of get with it. Who am I kidding? She smashed. She's curious about every little thing. What's wrong, Dad? Everything okay? Eyes open, widely, and her neck was craned forward in concern. Features on her face still tired, but her voice indicated she was wide awake and alert. Yeah, no, everything's is okay. Everything is fine. Sweetie, at least we haven't had the opportunity to hang out together in a while. Maybe we want to have a daddy-daughter day. That is, if it's okay with you. How are your teeth, by the way? Ryan straightened his back and pulled his waistband upward of his gut. Mark, Mark, Mark generally adjusting the height of his pants too, and more provision. Won't you get in trouble with your job? She placed the glass back on the side table and stood around, allowing her legs to drape over the side of the bed with her pointed toes barely grazed the carpet. My mouth is a little sore. They probably need adjusting soon. Gosh, I hope I don't have to wear these too long. Ryan stepped inside the room and approached the plot where Max was saying, Meh, he responded, tossing his hands forward like he didn't really care about the repercussion of missing a day at work. Though he dreaded the slap on the face he knew he would receive from his boss the following day. I want to buy you something new. I think you will enjoy it. Then I figure you might want to get some once in cause I run a birds game. Do you think, sweetie? What are Thunderbirds? The girl blinked several times, waiting for her father's response. You know, he began. Hockey? The local Seattle team is battling me out today. No much about the sport, really, but I know they have a home game this afternoon. What do you say? Sure, that sounds good. Matt stood and stretched him, grabbed some clothing from the dresser. I'll be down after my shower. She disappeared in the bathroom and shut the door behind her. Went back downstairs and received his mug from the sink. He rinsed it out and brought it with coffee for his second cup in the morning. He usually enjoyed one cup at home and another when he got to work. After he called his boss to ask for a day off, telling the man a little lie about not feeling well. Ryan was Mason's most from atop the stairwell and made it to the kitchen, the bar area. Despite the dark circles beneath her eyes, she looked glorious, he thought, just like her mother. So it boiled of sickness and quickly drank a cup of coffee. The girl had a winsome look in her eyes that seemed to emanate more from the height of loneliness and her being tired. How are you feeling, Siri? You don't really look too well. I mean, you look pretty, but sort of down, I guess. I know the moon has been tough on you, but it gets better, trust me. Master shrugged and then stood up and put her bowl in the dishwasher. She stared over at her dad from the sink area, squatting and holding one arm in the front of her body with the other. Ryan knew she was waiting on him to lead her to the car from the day together, but his concern for his dejected daughter caused him to hesitate, thus staring back. It broke his heart seeing the girl in such a sorrowful state knowing she used to seem happy. When the last time she smiled? He recalled holding Mouse in his arms when she was less than a week old. Eyes so snuggled to focus on a single object, causing curiosity. But there was a brief moment when she locked her gaze on her father's face, smiled up at him. First time he loved her more than anything, and that day promised himself to never be the source of her pain. All he wanted to do was protect her from any and all pain. Harm. He had lost sight of that, and it was a promise he would break only a handful of years later. He rapidly moved his head back and forth to shake away his memory of the past. "Let be off, then," the middle-aged man said, finally breaking the sail. "We also need to get jerseys for the game. You look lovely, sweetie. It'd be good to show some team spirit while we're there." Hoped the team would grow excited about the days to come, but she didn't appear to show any real emotion besides a premeditable sadness. The father-daughter pair finally hopped in the car and headed towards town. Ryan turned the radio on and tuned it to a local pop hits station, hoping he could bond with the girl in the passenger seat through music. The man sighed and twisted her body away from the interior of the car towards the window. The driver had no idea why she reenacted it in that matter. She kept her elbow on her knee and her chin in her palm as she lonely sailed out the window. Maybe she doesn't like the music. Nah, that can't be. All kids her age like pop, I think. No foxholes or renaissance were staying for her an uncomfortable amount of time. And Ryan couldn't find the right combination of words to say to his hurting teenager, so he remained quiet, always trying his glasses until they finally reached their first stop. Master must have been lost in thought, because he didn't notice where they were until Dad put the vehicle on park and twisted his keys, turning the car off and removing it from the ignition. Ryan watched as his little girl walked out through the windshield at the front of the building and saw the big bold letters adored on the side. "The Guitar Center?" the mermaid asked as he turned back towards the interior of the car and made eye contact with her. "Why are we here?" "Well," the bearded man began, "I thought maybe you could channel your thoughts and emotions, I guess, into music. Let's go and get your guitar." As he finished his last word, his girl's face lighted up. The corners of her mouth slightly angled upwards, and Ryan could see he was on the right track. He was worried his plan might have been ruined, seeing how she reacted to the music on the but after watching a facial of features of man on at the idea of owning a guitar, the man was beginning to think his daughter simply didn't like popular music. Think of it, the music he heard from Master's bedroom door sounded more organic and indie than he figured most kids her age would enjoy. "I don't know much about guitars, but I would love to learn." Freckled brunette spoke with hopefulness in her voice that her father hadn't heard in quite some time. One smiled and led her inside, and the father-daughter pair casually perused the cements hanging on the walls, especially on the sleeves in the middle of the large room. Let's drop in front of a yard. Young had an acoustic guitar that Ryan noticed he's been eyeing since they walked in. He didn't see anything special about it, but his little girl seemed to. Ryan laid down 10 minutes and asked to let his daughter give it a try. The poor like in his mid to late 20s, with tattoos up and down his arm. First we received the item, handed it to Mass, and then showed her how to properly hold and sum the instrument. "This is a fine solder ass, little lady," the man nodded and Can't go on here. You can upgrade in a couple years once you learn your way around some cords and whips. So one piece of advice, repetition. Hey, over and over again. When you're finished with that, wait some more. We're also classes too, but here's a little secret. The tattoo employee bent down and leaned as if he was about to whisper something. You can teach yourself this trick. It's as easy to learn it on your own as it is with paying us to teach you. You too, my dear. This is the one I want, Les confirmed, sipping the swing from around her neck and shoulder and handing the guitar to the man with a tiny grin on her face. Thank you, Dad. The teen wrapped her arms around her father's neck and squeezed. She felt warm. Ryan couldn't remember the last time his daughter showed him affection. He knew he didn't really deserve it lately, but it filled his heart. Ryan was both relieved that his daughter actually seemed happy, even if it just for the moment, and proud that he had figured out a way to make her smile. The team leader set them up with replacement swings, a beginner's minimal, a couple of other items. He convinced the pale wood necessities. As his father pulled out his credit card and paid, and as they made their way back towards the car, he watched his daughter carry her new instrument with both arms. It seemed to dwarf her a bit, but he was glad she was excited. He knew she would grow into it. After placing the item in the back seat, the driver cranked the car, leaving the guitar stand to swing to its rearview mirror. I'm getting hungry. The lone team messing after only a couple of minutes in the vehicle, saying towards the next exit. Yeah, me too, but I'm always ready to eat. Juan raised one hand from the steering wheel and patted his belly, chuckling before he began. We get some grub at the arena. It was a small thing, but he was glad Madison being hungry. She hadn't eaten much since the move, he noticed. And getting her appetite was back was another good sign. He seemed to be opening up a little more, too, and he hoped the trend would continue throughout the day. The new instrument in the back seat and a somewhat more cheerful daughter, the middle-aged man drove them deeper into the city into the sporting venue ready to catch a hockey game. By midday, attendance wasn't expected to be very high. They found a good spot in the oversized parking garage, walked up to the ticket booth, then strolled inside. Max followed her dad into the small merchandise shop just inside the front gate entrance. Oh, the man beamed, we gotta get jerseys. You can just pull it over your yellow tee there. He ducked his head and made his arm motion like he was putting on the shirt. See what they have. Peel searched through the bill system but only found two varieties of jerseys like item. One short sleeves and pink with a large S on the back, and the second rabbit long sleeves and large S on the front. You want red or pink, sweetheart? Pink's your favorite color, right? The red one looks pretty cool. As reviews are curling from the hand and held it up to her body. It's like it's a little bit too big. Ryan smiled and shook his head. I may not know much about hockey, but I know it's supposed to be big. And not really fit well, it chuckled. If it doesn't hang off you like a damn tent, it's too small. A voice coming from his mouth sounded almost like someone else. It was raised in Oxford, and his excitement was clearly growing. He felt like a kid again, skipping school and going out with friends. Not that his daughter considered him a friend, but he loved spending time with her. In the moment when few words of thought were sailed, maybe I needed this way too. They purchased their new jerseys and exited the shop after pulling the merchandise over their heads and adjusting their undershirts to a more comfortable position. They found themselves at the concessions area ready for lunch, and one small group was ahead of them in line, so it didn't take long to place their orders. Master had a small tub of nostrils and a cherry coat, and despite the snugness of his button-down breast area, Ryan ordered a jumbo Seattle dog in the coat. The man couldn't resist the cream cheese and salty onions that topped the perfectly cooked polished surface on a hoagie roll. Sure, it wasn't the healthiest of choices, but maybe next week he could start watching what he eat. Today, he was spending time with his only daughter. Prepared to relax, unplug, and enjoy your time together without concern of his weight. After locating the second level seats, Ryan decided he was going to test something he knew could go one of two ways. He wanted to take a photo of Max at the game so he could remember this moment forever. On one hand, he didn't want to be that type of dad, fixed person and is overly annoying. On the other hand, new Max loved Charlie. He might have guessed her musical choice incorrectly, but he knew that much about the girl. She's an artist. She won't mind. Or will she? Shit. Before they took their seats, still standing in the middle aisle, and even though he felt lame for it, Ryan decided he would ask, Max, do you mind if I take a photo of you in your jersey with the teens warming up in the background? Sounded like it would be a good picture. I really appreciate it. Yeah, no problem, Dad. Persuaded Jewel smiled. Haven't seen a grin on her face. That was since he picked her up from playing with Chloe outside last month. Max handed him her nostrils and placed her cherry hook in the beverage holder on the armrest of the seat directly to her side. When she turned around, her father was browsing his phone to pills food while lining up the shop. Oh, that's perfect. Ryan felt his arm and legs shaking as he sat in an awkward position trying to snap a good picture. Got it, he called out, gathering his balance and lowering his phone. Thanks, sweetie. They sat in their seats and gobbled up the meals they dispersed. He enjoyed watching his little princess light up as she witnessed her first hockey game, though the girl didn't really understand what was happening, and truthfully, he didn't much either. She seemed to enamored by the ice in the game's place. Even watched her jump up to her feet with tensely as a fight brought out. Was having a fantastic time, and it delighted him to see her that way. On the car ride home, Max couldn't stop talking about her experience. She even picked up a hockey term or two. It was impressive to her dad. In a matter of hours, she had transformed from quiet and shut away in her own head to being almost overly chatty. As they pulled into the driveway and Juan showed the girl step to the park position, he heard the girl in the passenger seat unbuckle. Suddenly, he felt her swing her small arms over the middle console and as far around the men's torso as she possibly could. The moment she pulled back and spoke, "Thank you, Dad. I haven't had that much fun since." She trailed off and sunk back to her seat. I miss Chloe. I'm sorry, Maximus. He was beginning to realize no matter how much he distracted her with amazing, fun-filled days, the key to her happiness might actually be the goal she left behind. It's Max. I'm not a big fan of Maxine. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that too. Listen, sweetheart, you can call her if you want. I feel terrible about encouraging you to not reach out to her. She means a lot to you. That's clear. I don't know. I, I don't even know what to say now. But I hate my guts for leaving and not calling it. Max begun nervously picking at her fingernails. Her mood slipping back to the way it was prior to visiting the guitar shop earlier in the day. I understand, Max. Whatever you think is best. He dropped briefly, didn't you? I just want to say thank you too. I had a great time this afternoon. What do you say we make this our thing? He used his fingers to create air quotes, putting emphasis on his last two words. We should do it again. Maybe next week. I have to wait until the weekend this time. I don't want to lose my job. Wade chuckled to himself, knowing that he faced consequences for his acts in palm returning. No matter the outcome, he felt it was definitely worth spending time with his little girl. I really like that. Following her words, the brunette entered the car, carrying her new guitar and bag of accessories from the back seat and vanished inside the house. Ryan, sitting in the carport alone, removed his car key from the ignition and held it out in front of his head for He considered the idea that the tiny item was made to perfectly fit a spot with the exact opposite design. So two pieces together completed one another. A key without its keyhole was purposeless and vice versa. As a parent who hoped his daughter would be able to navigate her way through life without pain or hurt, but he knew that wasn't realistic of his aspiration. If Max and Chloe found their ways back to Wonder, it would be a beautiful thing. Till then, he would love his family and do everything in his power to keep them safe and happy. Thank you for checking out this little story. We still don't have it started until what happened to Matt's at Sea Carey as a young teen. Besides a few pictures on her wall and the small details, she's messages in her journal. We don't have much to go on. We wanted to explore that time and figured the hockey game photo would be a good place to start. I never seen a fic from Ryan's perspective, so I decided to challenge myself and see if I could do it. Personally, I really just like how before the storm dragged Mass through the mug. Both seeing Corey perform and Life Strange warned that Mass never reached out, not even the final chance. And before the storm, they twisted the narrative to show Mass practically ghosted Corey, which I don't think C would ever do. It was important for me to show the lack of communication between them. It was a combination of Mass's intimacy and the idea that C might be hurting Corey even more that drove her to distance herself from her soulmate. Anyway, thanks again for me. It means a lot. Also, thanks to the beta jib. That was the note from the clock line. So, yeah. And fun fact, jib beta's clock, sorry. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it, Ryan. I really do. Next up is... What's next up? This is... Hang on. I find out right now. Fade out, only love. Oh god. For me, you pick like swimming her painness. Even Clock hates fade out, only love. Because of what it is. Oh boy. Ah boy. Joy, joy, joy. Good pick for what's next line. Good pick. Terrible pick at that. Just why wine? Why? Nice, fade out when we love business. I'll see you there, Ryan. Hi everyone. This is AmberAnkNA 2000 again. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Cause you know I really did enjoy making it. But so I hope you enjoyed it. Comment, like, and subscribe with the notifications on down below. Till next time, bye!